Hello everyone, I'm Dilusha Gamage. Welcome to Ambion Insights. Entrepreneurship is a unique mindset. And entrepreneurs see gaps where others see limitations. And they see opportunities where others see only uncertainty. And also, they find solutions when others see only problems. Not only that, they act and inspire an entire generation of creators. And today, we are going to have a conversation with one such entrepreneur. These entrepreneurs enjoy their journey of entrepreneurship even though they face challenges every day. And today, we are going to have a tech entrepreneur, a champion in homegrown tech technology. We welcome Mr. Dhanika Perera, the CEO and founder of Helago. Dhanika, welcome to Ambion Insights.
Thank you for having me today.
Dhanika, so to start off, let's talk a little bit about your early life and what really inspired you to become a tech entrepreneur. What had brought you up to this level?
So it all started with actually a passion that I had, right? So it was that passion which led me to become an entrepreneur, or rather, an accidental entrepreneur, because I never intended to become an entrepreneur in my childhood. So it was a school project due to my passion on the Sinhala language, Sinhala fonts, and how they work, which led me to focus on these language technologies, font technologies. And then actually I continued that passion even when I got to the University of Moratuwa for my bachelor's degree. And it was my university project which led me to start a business by commercializing it. So it all started with that passion, but again with the motivation to solve problems. Everything I did from my childhood was actually a solution for a real world problem, from singular typing to what's or not. So that's what paved the way for me to become who I am today.
Okay, so that means in the university you were forced to do a project and that became a entrepreneurial project for you.
That's right.
Okay, but I think you built several impactful digital products over the past years. So I think we can see some of them here,
Yeah.
Helago, and all these. What was your first experiment in entrepreneurship? Was that project that you were talking about, or what was your first?
Yeah, actually, since I didn't have an intention to become an entrepreneur, what I very first did was everything due to with my passion, right? So I was so passionate about this Sinhala fonts, and with that passion, I identified the market gap, a societal challenge that means at that time we could, communicate in our own language, Sinhala and Tamil, only through computers, not from mobiles. So that actually I identified as a gap, as a problem, future need of our people. So that's what actually I, did my project to solve it. So my university project was actually a web browser, Sinhala-based mobile web browser, which actually gave the Sinhala reading capability on smartphones for the very first time. So it was an innovation at that time, and I got recognition also from South Asian Award. And then actually I got a market demand to that product, which led me to convert that into a business and start my own business. That's how all that started.
And because in Sri Lanka we have majority of Sinhala speaking.
Exactly. There's actually, I mean, if you get the stats, 90% of our population needs local language support into their day-to-day life. There can be more literacy, but for their day-to-day life, they more than 90% need local language support. So that's why Helakuru became actually so viral, go on word of mouth, and became a household brand where everyone actually, use it to get their communication done digitally in their own mother tongue.
Okay, and then you started Helago. What inspired you to do that, and what were the gaps that you saw when you wanted to start Helago?
Yeah. Helago actually comes to the picture after 15 years after we, introduced Helakuru to the market. So with Helakuru, by solving that initial problem, after some years, we step by step evolve into a super app concept where not only catering only one segment, but actually delivering multiple services through the single same platform. Because of that, we actually, expanded our market segments to various industries. Uh, Helago keyboard in terms of linguistic, then Asana for mass media, and then actually HelaPay venturing into fintech, financial technologies, and digital payment side, and then actually Helaru for entertainment, and then the latest one is actually Helago for mobility. So all through that journey, we have now actually become brand loved by people, believed by people, trusted by people, which delivers them a very simplified digital experiences, make their lives easy. From making a reload to bill payment, now which actually Helakru helps them to even pay a traffic fine when you're caught from police, right? So with that portfolio or the loyalty that we built up in the market, we actually started Helago venturing into the mobility as well. Again, as same as the all the previous ones, Helago is actually Helago came to the market, identified the gaps in that particular market, and to fill that gaps, right? Particularly right now, if we think about the ride-hailing market in the country, it's actually about 10 years now, but still there are unresolved issues, unresolved gaps in that market. From the passenger's point of view, there are few set of problems still exist, and from the driver's point of view, there are a whole lot of problems still exist in that market. And that's why we see all these protests and all these from the drivers end, taxi drivers end, where we see through news and all that. So we identified that we still have a role to play in this market, even though that market has matured to 10 years. Still there are unresolved issues. So we actually identified what are these issues in the ground level and how we can actually solve them and address them to fulfill the need and satisfy both parties, passengers, drivers, both, through a new kind of a business model. So that's actually what brought Helago into the picture. And we introduced it with a whole new model instead of actually the closed and fixed model which was existed before. And we believe that the cause for the existing problems, we actually came up with a new open and fair model which creates an open market economy for the ride hailing market, which do the job by the involvement, the collaboration of both parties, drivers and passengers. That new concept is actually how we differentiate from the existing players in the market as well.
Okay. And when did you start exactly Helago then?
Helago, we announced the brand in July 2025, and we started driver registrations parallel to that, but we officially launched for passengers in January 2026.
It's a brand new product.
Yes.
All right. So now, if I may say, now ride-hailing market in Sri Lanka is dominated by two major players. So now you said there are some uniqueness with Helago. So how do you position Helago in a competitive environment like that?
Yeah, we position ourselves in a new kind of ride hailing introduced to Sri Lanka to redefine how ride hailing really happens.
Okay.
Existing players, existing solutions, what they do is actually a kind of a algorithmic match between the drivers and passengers and the controlled based pricing mechanism, a black box pricing, where both the driver and the passenger does not have any control or flexibility over that. So instead of that, we are actually coming up with a new model which actually empower both the driver and passenger to make agreed decision between the two parties. So in our model, the price is actually depends on the negotiation between the driver and passenger, and we have actually come up with a very innovative way to do that in very quick time because the time also matters. Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, actually, we are creating a new market category where not algorithmic ride hailing, but actually negotiation based ride hailing, which redefines, we believe that which will redefine the ride hailing market in the country, filling that gaps we identified and solving the existing problems we identified in that market.
So there's no fixed price, but you can negotiate the price.
Yeah, how it happens is like this. Now, we suggest the market price for the driver, but not only for one driver. When you actually make as a passenger, if you actually make a booking now here, the nearby drivers, few drivers, 4, 5 drivers, get the opportunity to submit their own quote on pricing for you, right? We suggest the market price for them, but they have the flexibility to either, reduce it or increase it and submit their own price. And then as the passenger, you get the opportunity, you get the choice to choose who you go with. What is actually the ride that you get, what is the best price you can select, or you can actually, based on the, proximity, if it is an urgent ride for you, you can choose the nearest driver. If it is actually not urgent for you, you can choose the cheapest driver. If you concern with security and the quality of service, you can choose the best driver based on the driver rating. So what we are giving back to the passenger is actually the choice that they don't have with existing players. Right now, there's no choice at all. When you press a button, someone will somewhere come and pick you. But here, you choose who you go with. That's
So
actually
in my
the difference.
screen, I will see the options that I have.
Exactly.
And there
You
are
will
ratings
see, minimum 3 drivers, so that you can pick the driver you want to see, you want to go with, by comparing those 3. So when for you to compare those 3, it's not only the price, but we show you beforehand who is the driver, the driver's profile picture, the vehicle's actual photos, the driver ratings, which has been given by previous passengers, which gives you actually a choice to evaluate or compare those 3 and select the best one for you to go with your ride.
So only the passenger sees it, or all the drivers also see each other's bids?
Drivers see, because we wanted to create the open market condition here, open market economy here, so that what we do is we give them the opportunity to place their own quote or place their own price for the ride, but they also can see what is the best price that it has been offered until now. So it actually creates a competition between drivers to give the best option for the passenger, which ultimately benefit the passenger, so that the passenger will get multiple options, various options because of the competition between drivers. Ultimately, passenger gets benefit.
Okay, that's wonderful. I think, and if I ask you this way now, are you going to compete head on with these 2 existing players, or you're finding a differentiated niche? What would be your answer for that?
It'll more like a mix, right? Because when we analyze the market, especially with the demography and the generations, especially the younger generation, Gen Z, and the generation ahead, mostly prefer the choice much, right? Rather than actually the cheapest price, they actually prefer the choice. So that we are specifically targeting, we have identified a niche market as the Gen Z market, which we will specifically promote Helago as the ride-hailing partner for the Gen Z, because our offering is actually much appealing to that Gen Z audience, than the traditional audience who have already used to the existing way of ride-hailing. But why I say it'll be a mix with the loyalty and the customer retention with Helakuru over the time. Right now, we have actually the largest digital audience for a homegrown digital platform with Helakuru. We serve more than 4.5 million active users with Helakuru, and they are using our services from a very long time, and they are using them day to day, which actually make their lives easy with their own language communication, with a way of instantly getting informed through news alerts, and then actually helping them to do their day-to-day payments, from a reload to bill payment to even a traffic fine. Likewise, we have actually a very good relationship, very good loyalty we have built up with that existing 4.5 million base. So we expect that with that loyalty, a portion of that will also convert from existing players to our ride-hailing service, this new model, because of that loyalty as well. So it will be a mix of market segments. Niche will be the Gen Z, but the existing market we will convert due to our brand loyalty as well.
So you have the Sinhala language in the Helago app.
Exactly. So our core expertise in terms of the digital adoption. Now we have been able to adapt our solutions to the mass market very rapidly. For an example, now when the government introduced GovPay, the government payment platform, it was us who actually brought it to the market with through HelaPay to pay traffic fines very fast. Right now, all the banks and all the mobile banking, internet banking apps also support the same, but majority of the traffic fine payments are happening through Helago. The secret of that is we always prioritize the simplicity over the sophisticated functionalities, right? So our solutions are always simple to use, and they are available in their local language, so it's much relevant to them, right? So the number of steps are also minimal, so that they get a very user friendly and very simple, time effective. They can get their work done, right? So that we have brought it to Helago as well. So Helago also provides a very unique and very simplified user experience for the passenger as well as for the driver. So since we have the local market taste rather than the existing players, we believe that that will also help us to increase our adoption rate of adoption with Helago platform as well.
Okay. And Dhanika, now you're entering this mobility business and as a tech entrepreneur. And in your view, what are the untapped opportunities you see in the Sri Lankan mobility ecosystem?
Yeah, I think now, if you consider the existing ride-hailing market, the existing players, they are mostly actually centralized into these urban areas like Colombo and Western Province. If you go out to the other areas of the country, we have very less adoption and very less usage in terms of such platforms. So we see there are so much of untapped opportunity out there as well, because if we practically see it in real world, tuk-tuks and taxis are used not only in Western Province, not only in Colombo, but throughout the country as well. There's so much untapped opportunity out there, and since the what we have as our strengths, which we build through Helakuru, because Helakuru is not a digital platform used only by urbans, only by tech savvy people, but it's actually used by people all around the country or across the country, right? So since that, we believe that we have a very good opportunity to convert them, to make them adapted to this ride-hailing new model that we brought up. And again, with from the problem-solving perspective, why the existing players have been failed to expand into the other areas of the country. We also believe that because of that unresolved problems, unfulfilled gaps in that market, right? You see, from other places like Kerala and all that, there are so much of frustration, so much of rejection comes to these ride-hailing markets because they are modeled into a way that is only relevant, only applicable to some geographical areas. But if we can actually solve their problems in those geographical areas, we believe that we have a very large potential of untapped opportunity out there in other areas as well. And with our new model, we believe that this new model will fill the gaps or the problems in that geographical areas as well. So that's why we are planning to expand. We believe that there's much opportunity out there than in just Colombo.
Okay. So at the moment, Helago is available only in
Yeah,
urban.
initially we launched it, we rolled it out only for Western Province.
Okay.
Because we wanted to, since we are new into the ride-hailing market, we wanted to actually observe the market, how the market behaves into this new model that we brought up. Right now, actually, it's our third month. So first month, we actually, observed that how the consumer behavior changes with this new model. And we see some gaps in our model as well, to be honest. And the second one actually we took to address those gaps in our model as well, because this open and fair model, even though it works well in terms of that problems were there, we saw some gaps in the time as well. The time to book is actually sometimes have issues in our model as well. So that right now actually what we are doing is we are addressing them those glitches. So after evolving our product to suit those market conditions as well, we are targeting to expand into other areas within this year.
All right. So now you said about 4 million plus users you have with Helago.
Helakuru, yes.
And you are planning to convert them to Helago as well.
Yes.
So if I may ask, what is your strategy in getting them to adopt into Helago? What would that be?
I think always what I believe as an entrepreneur, as you mentioned in your introduction, people always come to the places where their problems are getting solved, right? Where their needs are getting fulfilled. So that is actually the core strategy on entrepreneurship that we believe as well. If we can actually identify the gaps in the market from the passenger's point of view, from the driver's point of view, if we can identify their problems, their issues, and if we can come up with practical solutions which actually solves their existing problems, people will come to that, right? That is actually the core strategy that we believe, and we have identified what are the hindering factors of passengers to use existing ride-hailing models, and by addressing them, we believe that we will be able to convert them into our new model, and existing user base that we have, existing market that we have with Helakuru is actually a plus for us when we are going through that journey.
It's an advantage.
Exactly, it's actually the largest advantage that we have, because we don't start with zero, right? Now, these kind of two-sided markets, the major challenge, the most critical challenge is actually the starting from zero, the both ends, right? But why we came to this sector, we don't have to start from zero, because we already have a passenger base, 4.4 million plus passenger base with Helakuru, which we can easily convert. It will take some time, but we have less of barriers to convert them into our mobility users as well. And we had to build up the driver base from the zero. That's why we started it early in July 2025. But right now we have more than 80,000 drivers throughout the country registered with us online and ready to serve our passengers. So right now we are strong with both ends, passengers and drivers, and it's just a matter of time to connect these both and expand into the market.
Okay. And Dhanika, now you are going with a local first, Sinhala language based solution. And that cultural mindset, now in these 3 months, have you seen that it is being accepted by the Helago customers, or you have seen that being an advantage? How is your experience?
Yes, of course. I mean, during our first month, we got so many feedback from passengers, which actually, amazed even us. Because since the ride-hailing market is now matured more than 10 years, we didn't expect that people will, notice the difference that we brought into the market in such a short period of time. But luckily, people are actually experiencing the difference in this model, and people are also understanding the importance of actually, the satisfaction of both parties when it comes to a market like two-sided market like this. The earlier days, it was only the passenger who was satisfied, but drivers were always had grievances about the existed ecosystem. But what we believe is actually to sustain a market like this, both ends, both sides of the market, both the driver and the passenger should be satisfied. So our objective and our mission is actually to make both of them happy, and that is a challenge as well. But during our first few months, we are already getting very positive feedback from both drivers and passengers end. And a reason can be that local taste. I mean, catering the local taste, because we understand, we realize, we feel the emotions and the needs of our own people rather than anyone else, so that actually we have a better chance. And also the experience that we gained throughout these 15 years of Helakuru, how their consumer behavior change, what they expect in terms of not rationally but emotionally, and we are catering them as well to convert these local users into our ecosystem. And the brand that we had built, the loyalty that we had built, helped it as well.
Okay. And what are the immediate risks you see when you're working with Helago now. We are still at the early stages.
Yes.
But what kind of risks you pursue?
Yeah, in terms of risk, we see from both ends, from the market ends, the actual users ends. We since we are new to the market, we are right now observing how the market behaves to this open ride-hailing model, open market ride-hailing model that we newly introduced to the market. And from one end, we have identified, as I mentioned earlier, few areas to be addressed in that way as well, and that's what we are working on right now. So as a result, now we are introducing a kind of a hybrid approach where you can actually compare and choose your driver if it is not urgent for you, but to suit these peak times, especially in Colombo office closing times, we are actually introducing a new faster booking experience as well. So the passenger has the choice whether they want to go for a faster booking with the guaranteed price, or compare and choose the best price, the best driver as they wish. So that is one area that we felt a risk, and we are addressing it right now. And from the other end, we have the competitor challenge as well. So that, I mean, in this ride hailing market, it's a norm that the drivers are incentivized. When a new player come into the market, drivers are incentivized not to switch to other platforms, but actually to retain them in their own platforms. So we are facing that challenge as well, but we prepared ourselves for that beforehand. So we are successfully, addressing or competing with that challenge as well at the moment.
Okay. And as the owner or the founder of Helago, where do you see what you want Helago to become in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, actually, we target to acquire 50% of the market share of the ride-hailing market in the country. That is actually our goal within the next 5 years to achieve. And by going through that, we also actually expect to, make the ride-hailing market in the country a satisfied place for both drivers and passengers. In terms of social aspect, but why we actually came up to this market was actually to address these gaps in that market. So if it doesn't actually being fulfilled, the purpose of why we came to this, while there are two players in the market, will not be filled. So from both ends, one is actually to acquire 50% of the market share, and from the societal perspective, to address these gaps in that market so that both passengers and drivers will ride together in a happy mood, with a satisfaction at the end of the ride.
That's very passionate of you. And Dhanika, now you have been attracting some investments as well. So in terms of expansion of Helago, what is your plans in the future?
Yeah, actually, we came up all these 15 years of journey about Helakuru as a completely a bootstrap. We have not accepted any external investment, no a bank loan at all for our Helakuru journey. And I'm very humble and proud about that. But for the first time, we accepted an external investment for Helago, which is now a separate legal entity, because we need a rapid expansion, right, in the market. So that needs some cash to burn, and some deep pockets to spend. And that's why actually we took our first external investment. And not only the monetary investment, we partnered up with a major player in the mobility sector in the country, David Perez Motor Company. And they brought us not only the monetary investment, but also the loyalty of the drivers, because more than 90% of our Tuk market is from Bajaj,
Yes.
which is actually the David Perez Group's brand. So that we in terms of driver empowerment, we have so much of benefits, strategic benefits that we get from that investor, which which will be helpful for us to gain the driver loyalty in the long run as well. But in the time to come, our ultimate goal will be to go public as a company, and I hope it will happen within the next 5 years.
We wish you all the very best with that.
Thank you.
And As an entrepreneur, what would be your biggest lesson that you would know, you would want the people or the entrepreneurs who are watching us to know about?
Okay, so always I believe in this modern definition of entrepreneurship, not actually just running a business for profit, but entrepreneurship has a very deep meaning than that, right? Uh, the real meaning of entrepreneurship, as I believe, is actually to identify the societal problems, the market gaps, and coming up with creative and innovative ideas to solve them. And so the all the products, all the services that built through entrepreneurship are solutions to existing problems. That's actually what I believe. And what whoever want to become an entrepreneur, whoever start to run your own business, actually would uh, pay your focus, right, uh, onto this aspect, not actually how you can earn more, how you can, what are the industries, what are the markets that you can gain more. What I always believe, if we can think about what we can give, right, what we can give to the market with our strengths, with our capabilities, with our knowledge, our expertise, attitude, everything, we will get the return out of it as profits and all that, right? But that will be the return. Our focus should be not only on not just to get the return, but actually what you can give, right? What you can do to the market, what you can solve, what you can build, what you can actually, how you can impact your societal, the society as a whole, right? If you do it best, the return will automatically come. That's my message.
Okay, that's a very powerful message, Dhanika.
Thank you.
And last but not least, I want to ask you, what is the legacy you want to leave behind for Dhanika Perera?
Okay, I always, get the self satisfaction through empowering people. That is the same that I, put as the tagline of Basha, the company behind all these products, empowering masses digitally, right? So that is actually how I get motivated, how I get inspired when I see someone's life has become easy with something that I innovated, something that I brought to the market. That is actually my self satisfaction. So I want to, leave this world in a way that a person who helped to make someone's life easy. That's my ultimate purpose of life.
All right, amazing. And Dhanika, we wish you all the very best with your future endeavors. And we want to see Helago reaching places in the coming future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wishes, and thank you so much for having me today for this discussion.
Thank you so much for being with us, Dhanika. Thank you very much for watching Ambion Insights. We will be back soon with another exciting episode.